You're listening to Adventure Airwaves.
You are listening to Adventure Airwaves. Joyful journeys, place-based predicaments, and adventures of questionable significance.
Spring Equinox. I saw first butterfly of the season today.
The contrast between motion and not motion is what I thought about as I clung to a tree and nearly fell asleep standing up. I was about 27 miles into a trail run, and I only had a few miles left. The problem was that my brain and body were in agreement, and neither of them wanted to let go of the tree. And while I was tired, the forest was wide awake. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Spring Equinox, the date when the amount of darkness is equal to the amount of light. A butterfly circled my head, presumably to taunt me. I thought about how the heating and the cooling of the earth lagged behind the change in daylight, and how this was the first butterfly I had seen since last summer, and how none of that matters because I need to finish this damn trail and not fall asleep standing up. And so, I let go of the tree and leaned into it.
Oh, good morning. This is far. And I've thought this is far for the last 30 minutes of driving or so. And I'm at Camp Daniel Boone here, Boy Scout camp. I'm getting ready to start the Art Loeb Trail. And I already feel like I'm being chased. Haven't even started yet. So maybe that's the feeling that's gonna get me to the end, though. Right now my mind is consumed with this puffy jacket that weighs about 0.8 of a pound. And I don't know whether to take it or not. I know that if things go well, I don't need it. Oh my gosh, there's so many cars around here. Oh damn, that's the trailhead. Art Loeb. Here I am. Alright. Alright, it's Appalachian crowded up here, which means like 15 cars and you hear cars in the background every once in a while. That's because I'm approaching the Blue Ridge Parkway, probably around mile 13 or 14. This morning was amazing. It was so cold. I'm just gonna sit by the parkway for a little bit. Well, definitely going a little slower than when I ran it in my imagination. Passing Cedar Rock right now. It's just a real nice big granite slab, kind of low angle, but not to be underestimated, you rock climbers.
This scene took place on the Art Loeb Trail, which is located in western North Carolina, between Asheville and the Smoky Mountains. It was named after a guy named Art who liked to hike. The trail is between 29 and 32 miles long, depending on how many times you get lost. In running terms, the Art Loeb Trail is about 50 kilometers, which is just about the minimum mileage to be considered an ultra marathon. Going north to south, which is the way I did it, the total elevation gain is around 7,500 feet. The path is a net downhill in this direction, but that doesn't mean it's easier. The first 10 miles of trail bring you from 2,600 feet of elevation at the Daniel Boone Boy Scout Camp to 6,200 feet above sea level at Black Balsam Knob. Soon after, the Art Loeb Trail loses 1,000 feet of elevation in a single mile. A gradient like that is obscene and painful, no matter which way you go. It's enough to make you wonder if trail running is still called trail running when you're on all fours. The Art Loeb Trail straddles the Blue Ridge Parkway, one of the most iconic drives or bike rides in America. North of the parkway, the trail is high in elevation by Appalachian standards, with breathtaking views and rocky outcrops and windswept shrubs like elderberry, mountain laurel, and highbush blueberry. South of the parkway, the trail winds along a forested ridge over less remarkable peaks. You pass 2 hiking shelters, a couple of fresh creeks, and a big granite dome called Cedar Rock. The southern terminus of the trail is at the Davidson River Campground, near Brevard. Hustling on my feet for 30 miles and not bonking was a small success in itself. I have a history of eating too little and running too fast, and then paying the price. There was that time in the Big Sur Marathon when Dean Karnazes ran by at the same time that a group of enthusiastic bandit runner ladies had jumped onto the course in order to finish with their friend. I got caught up in the hype and started running fast and forgot about biology. I got dizzy and collapsed. Seconds later, I regained consciousness in sight of the finish line. Another spectator was shoving pineapple juice in my face and trying to revive me. On the Art Loeb, I hedged my bet against passing out by bringing over 2 pounds of food, including dates, Snickers bars, Triscuits, almonds, cookies, Country Time lemonade, Fritos, and a breakfast of Mrs. T pierogies. The only thing I didn't count on was the fact that after 20 miles, I wouldn't want to eat any of it. The only thing that sounded appetizing was Country Time lemonade, but it was buried in my gear somewhere. If I had taken off the vest, I may not have put it back on. I might just have used it as a pillow. So, I shoved down another date and a handful of Fritos. They hit me like a digestive designer drug derived from Metamucil and X-Lax. And that's all you need to know about that. I shuffled into Davidson River Campground at around 4 o'clock in the evening. After tagging the Art Loeb Trail sign, I hobbled into the parking lot and collapsed onto the asphalt. The sun was still out, and that was enough to bring a feeling of success, balanced by fatigue in my legs.
Running the last few miles into Brevard. Now I'm on familiar trail and just cruising downhill, walking uphill. Definitely had a painful moment back there. I was standing on a climb and just hugged a tree and almost fell asleep standing up just holding it, and didn't want to get too comfortable. So we're back at it. You never celebrate too early, because I have jacked myself up in this section of trail that I'm on right now. It's just rooty, a little bit less rooty than other parts of the trail, and that's just enough to sucker you into trying to get some speed.
I had left my car at the northern terminus of the trail. The next morning, I caught a ride to the trailhead with my son Russell. We were going to go for a short hike and then drive my car back home. and as we walked along the Art Loeb Trail, we searched for quartz and talked about the adventure. Russell wanted to know if I'd hurt my ankle again and how long it took me to get to the end. A little over 10 hours, I told him, which is about 54 regular episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants. Of the 10 hours on the trail, about 2.5 hours were spent resting and filtering water, so I ran for a combined 7 hours and 45 minutes. That's a long time to keep moving. As of Spring Equinox 2021, the fastest known time on the Art Loeb Trail was held by Javen Lapp, who is a paddling friend of mine and a very fast dude. Before my trail run, I read his trip report on the fastest known time website, but I did not understand it. How could another human finish this trail in just over 6 hours, where the climbing is steep and the routes are dangerous, and human ankles are fragile? His feat amazed and inspired me, and it kept me moving when I wanted to quit. As Russell and I walked back, someone I recognized ran up the trail. We stopped and talked. She asked me if I had seen Javen and told me that he was out trying to break his 6-hour and 14-minute record that he had set just months before. She was running to meet him and support him on the final miles. So there I was, picking up my car with my son after a successful trail run as Javen broke his own record. He had beat his previous time by over half an hour, finishing in 5 hours, 39 minutes. Aside from his support crew, Russell and I may have been the only people to witness this historic and esoteric achievement. Like me, Javen finished in the parking area, but he did not lay down. He was energized and happy and said it was one of his best runs ever. He looked like he had just run a 50-kilometer trail through the Appalachian Mountains faster than any person in history, but he did not look tired. Russell and I drove home, over the Blue Ridge Parkway, through Pisgah National Forest, and into the little valley where we live. It was the day after Spring Equinox. My legs were in pain, and there was a little more light than there was the day before.
A couple more of these little climbs, and it's just a nice flat gravel road all the way home.
Music on this episode by Jason Shaw, Wes Davis,
Hey, that's me.
Figure Ground, Blue Dot Sessions, and Seeking Madras. Find the album One Goes Forward or Bike Ride at seekingmadras.bandcamp.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a positive review, tell a friend, or yell it out the window. Thank you for listening. Oh yeah, and if you want to support Adventure Airwaves, you could go to the Creek and Crag Etsy store and pick up some swag. There's some coffee mugs there and t-shirts. I just made a pretty rad tank top with a Joshua Tree and Raven artwork on it. So go check it out there. It's Creek and Crag on Etsy. So search for that. And until next time, have an adventurous day. Cheers.